Benjamin Netanyahu announced Sunday the conflict with Hamas has entered a second stage. This as opinion polls have been showing support for a ground operation has slowed, citing notably the importance of getting Israeli hostages back alive. More than 220 people are still being held by Hamas, men, women, and children of all ages. France 24's Catherine Norris Trent is following the events from Tel Aviv. Catherine, protests took place in the Israeli city on Sunday in opposition to the ground offensive. Does the government have the support of public opinion?
Well, it's a really interesting question because there have been demonstrations against the ground offensive in Gaza. Here in Tel Aviv, they weren't mass demonstrations, but a couple of hundred people gathered outside the IDF, the Israeli Army HQ here in Tel Aviv, calling for an immediate ceasefire. There have been other protests as well, people calling on the Israeli government to do more to get the hundreds of hostages home from Gaza. And there have been protests as well of a more political nature, calling on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to resign. So, there are deep divisions within Israeli society. Immediately after October the 7th, I think it's fair to say that, most people we speak to, they still say they want to see Hamas eradicated, that they don't see how Israel can continue to live alongside the Gaza Strip while Hamas is there. There are people here expressing great concern over the plight of civilians in Gaza, and the issue of the hostages is piling on the pressure on the government to do more. In terms of the Prime Minister himself, well, people might remember the massive protests that took place in Israel over months and months and months earlier in 2023. Huge crowds of people on the streets over judicial reform. Well, people now are saying that a lot of people we've spoken to from different walks of life are saying that they do want him to go. They don't believe that he can keep Israelis safe, but opinion is split on whether he should go now or whether that could take place after the war. There are some people saying that they should put politics aside while this operation continues. And I just want to give you one opinion poll, which was interesting, from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. They'd shown that support among the Israeli population for any kind of prolonged occupation of Gaza was sharply down compared to on October the 10th, just a few days after the Hamas attacks, which killed 1,400 people here in Israel. That has dropped sharply to under 50%, according to that opinion poll now. So people not sure about where this military offensive is going, and support for any kind of prolonged occupation of Gaza seems to have sharply dropped.
Speaking of that offensive, in the immediate term, what is the Israeli army saying about what's going on the ground right now as we speak in Gaza?
So we are getting twice daily updates from the IDF chief spokesman, who said that in recent days they've hit more than 600 targets, including underground tunnels and anti-tank launching bases used by Hamas, saying that they've been striking the Gaza Strip from the air, and that they've also got that ongoing ground operation continuing. They aren't giving many more details than that, and of course it's impossible to independently verify because journalists from outside Gaza are not allowed into the territory. There are those brave reporters inside Gaza risking their lives, continuing to report, but we are not allowed in either from the Erez crossing here in Israel or from the Rafah crossing at Gaza at the moment. So when communications go down, as they did on Friday night, it's very difficult to get a picture from the outside world. But it seems that the Israeli army is pushing deeper and deeper into Gaza from the north and getting nearer towards Gaza City. So then this could be entering the phase of some kind of prolonged urban warfare, which of course could prove very costly in terms of lives for both Palestinians there and for Israeli soldiers. Benjamin Netanyahu over the weekend gave a speech in which he said this second phase of the war, as he put it, could be long and difficult.